I don't want to get out of the bath. Are any of you shocked that I haven't dropped these books in the water yet? A Kingdom. Hello kids, and welcome to my first ever Bathtastic book haul. Today we are going to be bathing in books. I got in my bathtub to film my worst reads of 2023 and y'all were obsessed. There were DMs about more bath time content. This whole filming videos in the bath thing started actually earlier in 2023 when I got in the bath in, I think it was February, and did a video called Soaked in Smut where I read smutty scenes in the bathtub. A video has never been more rapidly demonetized. I actually haven't counted how many books are on this list, but I am excited to make this my first book haul of 2024. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 41, 2, 4. I have approximately 50 books in this book haul, so without further delay, why don't we just get started? I promise not to drop this books the way my father dropped me as a child. The first book is I Keep My Exoskeletons to Myself. This is by Marissa Crane, and I unboxed this on my Instagram story a while ago. I'm hoping to read this sooner rather than later because it sounds absolutely incredible. This is a dystopian world where instead of people going into the punitive system, they're given a second shadow. And sometimes people are given a third, a fourth, or a fifth, just to show you how naughty they are. We're following a mother whose name is Chris. Chris is a shadester with a shadow of her own who gives birth to a baby that also has its own shadow. And it gets more wild from there. I love stories that are dystopian for the purposes of critiquing a system that is in place in our world. So I'm really looking forward to this. I need to find out if this is a Black author, but it is a non-binary author, and I'm just very, very excited about this. The writing, the prose has been compared to Ocean Vuong, and it is also a debut. It talks a lot about grief, which is always going to be a buzzword for me. Then I was sent Djinn Patrol. I am rapidly realizing that I have a thing for Djinn. The book that I'm currently reading, Master of Djinn by P. Djeli Clark, is incredible. But even before that, my introduction to Djinn was through Djinn City, and I forget the name of this author, but Djinn City was absolutely incredible. And then we have Djinn Patrol, which was on my radar when it was released and I simply never got to it. The fact that I was sent a copy is exciting. This is by Deepa Anapara. Oh my god, we already love it because it's described as a transporting debut following 3 friends. Books that follow friends are yes, 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 and yes for me. It essentially follows these kids as they are trying to find out why kids in their slum continue to go missing, and Djinn are a big component of the story. So it speaks a lot about poverty and class and what happens to missing brown children that are poor, even in countries that are predominantly brown. I'm so excited about this one. Oh my goodness, and it has a map of the city. It's giving give me the keys to the kingdom. Oh, I just simply love it. This map is so detailed, I can't wait. And next up we have a book titled Wolf Hunt. This book is by Aylet Gundar Goshen. I cannot tell if this is an O or an A, but the cover is absolutely beautiful. A mother suspects her teenage son of committing a terrible crime. Lilac has it all, a beautiful home in the heart of Silicon Valley, successful husband, a marriage, and a teenage son whom she's always been particularly close with. They are Israeli immigrants who now live in the United States, but after a brutal attack on a local synagogue shakes their sense of safety. Adam enrolls in a self-defense class. There for the first time, he finds a sense of tragedy and belonging, but then tragedy strikes when a Black boy named Jamal Jones dies at a house party, apparently from a drug overdose, and she is fearing that her quiet and kind son had something to do with Jamal's death. There was a book that had kind of a similar premise that came out last year that I absolutely read and loved. It was titled Our Best Intentions. You may have remembered this from people's anticipated release videos, or perhaps it was on your anticipated release list, for example. Followed a girl who comes from an Indian family, and she witnesses a Black girl get into an altercation and stab a white boy, and then the town turns on both of them. And it's a really, really good book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, so I'm excited to see how this kind of similar premise of you are from a marginalized group, you are from an immigrant family, and then are accused of committing a crime, especially in an affluent neighborhood, against somebody of a different race. I think it's a very, very sensitive topic, lots of moving parts. It has the potential to be like Big Little Lies, but not just rich white people problems, but what happens when a community has to react to something like this. Modern classic, The House on Mongo Street by Sandra Cisneros. I read this classic last year or the year before, and I really didn't like it, but I am excited to give it another try. I think perhaps maybe I just wasn't putting enough love on the book. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I saw this copy being given away for free, so I snagged it. This cover speaks to me a lot more than the cover of this book that I read, and I want to love and be able to celebrate this Latina classic the way that everybody else is. This essentially follows a young girl who lives on Mongo Street, and it's just a slice of her life, her coming to age with her siblings and community growing up around her, the way that she's growing, her wants, her desires, all of that. I was sent 2 copies of the 13 Ways to Kill by Lullabelle Rock. What an incredible name, and what are we thinking of this cover? I'm still not certain what I think of this cover, but I am excited to get into it. Our protagonist is the 13th copy of an actress whose name is Lullabelle Rock. Her purpose is to track down and eliminate her predecessors. Now, this came out in January of 2024, so now is the perfect time to read it, and it comes from Angry Robot Books. I really think that Angry Robot is underrated. They put out incredible things. The Hollows, which is what I'm currently reading, is put out by Angry Robot Books, and some of my favorite books from last year came from them as well. Now, I can't remember if I picked this up at a thrift store or if it was being given away for free in my neighborhood, but this one is called Gods, Demons, and Others, and this is by R.K. Narayan. I really like this cover. I think it speaks to me quite a bit. R.K. Narayan is following in the footsteps of Indian storytellers, and he is taking these mythologies that come from his land and putting his own spin on them. His own versions of tales of gods, demons, magicians, kings, and virtuous why can I not talk today? Virtuous wives from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. I'm very, very excited about this. You probably heard me say this a few times, but I learned that Greek mythology is not and never will be my thing. I was never interested in it in high school, and I ate everything that I could that had words on it in high school. And through joining booktube, I realized that my thing, my kink, is non-Western mythology. I love me some West African mythology. I love me some South Asian mythology. Just anything that is not the cookie cutter Greek mythos that I grew up with. I simply those stories never interested me, which sucks because they have such great followings, and I would have loved to be able to talk about these stories and analyze them with other Greek mythology lovers, but it just wasn't for me. So I cannot wait to get into this book. And Beholder was my Patreon book club pick for late last year. I loved this book. Spoiler alert, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. They did this. Ryan LaSala knows how to write a story, and I highly recommend Beholder. It is one of the trippiest, most wild books that you will ever read in your entire life. It is set in New York City and opens at this glitzy, glamorous party where our protagonist goes to the bathroom, and he comes out and everybody dead. Everybody dead. And he knows that he is not going to be believed, so he flees, and he comes from a Greek family, just like the author does. And his grandmother has his entire life been talking about the evil eye and is very superstitious and won't talk about anything else, and so he misses the grandmother that he had, who would have conversations with him that weren't about these sinister forces that lurk below. And then he finds out that she may know exactly what she's talking about, and something is hunting him through mirrors. So he and his grandmother cannot look inside of mirrors because mirrors show them something, and so he has avoided reflections his whole life. I promise you that this cover is completely accurate to the story itself. It is trippy, difficult to grasp, elusive, exciting. There is a very, very exciting romance in here. I think that you are going to be missing out on a truly odd, surreal, and touching story if you don't pick this up. We have a romance here, and this one is called Rock the Boat. This is by Sonia Lally, who is the author of Holly Jolly Diwali. And I was like, why am I so obsessed with this cover? And then I realized it's because this is the same author who wrote Holly Jolly Diwali, presumably the same artist. Holly Jolly Diwali is incredible, and I highly recommend that y'all read it if you haven't. But this one features one of my favorite tropes, which is the journey trope, the going on a cruise, for example, especially if it's a brown character. I love getting to see brown people travel, going on vacations, taking road trips, those sort of things, and being in kind of like an island setting or a reclusive setting, because then it applies to my Camp Oregon readathon, which is happening all year. And it's just a total buzzword for me in every way, shape, and form. So we are following a girl named Jasmine who thinks that she has it all, but then she finds herself single and she's tagging along on her family's cruise or on this cruise ship, and then she finds out that it's all elderly people, and so she's the only young person on this cruise with the exception of Jake. Why did I forget his name was Jake? It's on the cover. The two of them clash right away. He smarts with her because he hates that his South Asian community puts him on a pedestal, and she clashes with him because her reputation as a troublemaker precedes her. And I really love that this is kind of a inverse of the expectation that the female character be the one who has to carry the burden of the family, while the male character is the one who's wild in parties. And I'm excited about this. And then I was sent a copy of a book called Begin Again. This was one where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I unboxed this on Instagram as well, and there were some mixed feelings about whether or not this book would be for me. So this comes from the best-selling author of Tweet Q. Their name is Emma Lord, and apparently it is set at a college where one of the protagonists is a podcast host or a radio show host or something like that. She transferred from community college to the hyper-competitive Blue Ridge State to major in psychology. So everything goes wrong for Andy once she gets to college. She starts to then find power of her voice as the anonymous squire on the school's legendary pirate radio station, the same one her mom founded years before she passed away. And then Andy learns that not all the best laid plans are necessarily the right ones. So it's supposed to be an empowering journey of self while also having a decent romance in there. And I'm intrigued. I can't see me putting this on my immediate TBR, but I really want to know what y'all think, those of you who have read this book. It comes out, okay, so this came out in January of 2023. So hopefully some of you have read it and can perhaps give me some insight on whether or not I would enjoy it. And finally, we have Jennifer Bradbury's Take. This is a novel that I was excited to read because it is perfect for Camp Oregon. And I love those wilderness survival, long journey, challenging kinds of stories. Jennifer Bradbury, who's the author, is known for some other stuff and I can't remember what. A Moment Comes, Outside In, River Runs Deep, Wrapped Rock by Rock. So it looks like she writes these really challenging, physically challenging books for young adults. It's honestly giving YA back in 2006 with like the packaging and with this typewriter font. We love a creative decision. So Kara is stoked. She's finally ready to start her gap year climbing in Patagonia, and then her dad drops off the grid. She goes to his place and finds like all these pills, untouched bottles, prescriptions, and that his climbing gear is gone. So she goes out to save him. Oh my God. Time is short, the mountain is unforgiving, and her dad hasn't climbed in years. This is far more interesting of a synopsis than I anticipated, and knowing that it's more of a rescue story, I am excited to get to it. Now we have a book that I simply cannot wait to read, and this is Most Delicious Poison by Noah Whiteman, the story of nature's toxins from spices to vices. Spices to Vices would make an amazing chef YouTube channel name. Somebody needs to take that ASAP. I was so intrigued when the publisher asked if I wanted to read this because nothing could be further up my alley. As y'all know, I am not only an earth sign, but very, very obsessed with the earth. I have downsized my plants a bit, but earlier last year, I had as many as 70 to 80 houseplants, and I've always been obsessed with the earth and poisons and flowers and botany in general. This is part of the reason why I am so pleased with this trend in literary fiction of botany-centric horror stories. We have Such Pretty Flowers, we have Natural Beauty by Lim Ming Huang, Tripping Arcadia by Kit Mayquist. Even though Such Pretty Flowers was an absolute letdown, I still am wholly committed to the genre. Rouge as well would be another great example. This basically is about nature's toxins and how they've evolved and why we use and abuse them. I'm really excited to learn more about this, especially if you look at the history of toxic plants being put into pharmaceuticals. Next up, we have a cozy little book titled Duel, You Wanna Die. Duel. Duel is written by Jessica Bagley and illustrated by Aaron Bagley. We love a family duo. Jessica is spelled with an X and I've never seen it this way. So it's probably not Jessica. Right? Is it still pronounced? I'm curious. Maybe we'll find out in the book. We're following a 6th grader named Lucy who loves fantasy novels and brand new to middle school, which is never a fun thing. Being brand new at any school is never a good time. And Gigi is the undisputed queen bee of the 8th grade, and they only have one thing in common, which is fencing. Oh, and they're sisters. So this is about their sibling rivalry. Apparently they both get into some serious trouble, and there's a duel set between the two of them, which will decide whether or not that one of them gets to keep fencing, something like that. I like to go into my books knowing very little, which is why I often have to read y'all synopsises during these book hauls, because if the cover can hook me, if reading a few lines off the synopsis can hook me, or if it's from an author that I previously know and love, then I'm already good. I know everything that I need to know. And sometimes just knowing that it's a debut author, especially a debut author of color or a debut author who's marginalized in some way, that's also enough to keep me interested. This is what the artwork looks like, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty impressed. I think that this book has great potential. And now we have The Voice Upstairs. This is by Laura E. Weymouth. This cover is really beautiful, very Tim Burton-esque, very Guillermo del Toro-esque. I'm enjoying it. It automatically reminds me of, what is it, Crimson Peak, which is one of my favorite Del Toro films. I was really obsessed with it when I watched it in 2022, and I was looking at merch and candles, and I need to get back into it because that shit spoke to my very soul. We are following Wilhelmina Price, who has a dubious reputation in the village of Thrush's Green ever since her mother's untimely death. She's able to see a spirit leaving a person's body in the days or hours before they die. Damn, my spirit trying to escape before I even die? God damn. Now my spirit's abandoning me? Wasn't my father enough? And we're also following Ed Summerfield, who values his friendship with Will so much, so her short name is Will for Wilhelmina, and he's desperate to disguise how hopelessly in love with her he's become. We love a pining prince, and his belief that he may be haunted by the ghost of his older brother, Peter, so he's hiding that as well. So essentially this is about the two of them who go to dig into Will's houses of secrets and figure out why. Because Ed is concerned that Will can't see the ghost of his brother. So he's like, okay, so since I can see the ghost and Will can't and she sees ghosts, then I'm insane. So he's trying to hide the fact that he believes that he may be wrestling with mental illness, and also trying to hide the fact that he's wildly in love with her. I'm pretty excited about this. As you watch this video and hear about these books from me, I would love to know your thoughts on the books as I talk about them. Are these books that sound interesting to you? Have you read them? Are you seeing any books that you're like, Jessie, put this on your long list TBR or potentially think about unhauling, because you are going to hate that book. I love interactive videos. I love when y'all leave me books as comments. I always read the crap out of them. It's okay to be a wordy birdie over here. I love the amount of diversity in the types of books that were sent in that I'm featuring in this haul, because now we have a children's picture book, and I never grew out of children's picture books. I still have a collection of them and I absolutely never will. This one, however, is extra special because it is a non-binary centric children's book. This is called What Are Your Pronouns Today? Hooray for the she, he, ze, and they. I cannot wait to read this book. Look at this, it's so beautiful. And then we have perfect timing because this releases February 27th of this very year. And just look Oh my god, just look at this beautiful, beautiful art. And this book was championed by people of color. Lynn Zamer creates queer and social justice media for kids and families. They wrote and produced and co-hosted Queer Kid Stuff, which is an LGBT plus educational web series for ages 3 and up, which the Huffington Post called groundbreaking. Then we have Kip Alizadeh, who's an illustrator and visual artist. And when they aren't creating, they like to DJ, spend time with their cats. Kip is non-binary, queer, Iranian, and English, and lives in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Oh my goodness, how beautiful and life-changing is this book going to be? Are any of you shocked that I haven't dropped these books in the water yet? Beasts of War is finally here. Y'all know how much I'm obsessed with this series. Beasts of Prey is a legendary piece of literature. This is her debut work. So the fact that right away her debut is this incredible series that has already been picked up, that has a huge cult following. I could not be any more proud of this woman if I tried intentionally. But we are following 2 kids who come from very different classes. One of them is an indentured servant who is forced to care for volatile and magical beasts. And the other one is a soldier who is a part of the city's very, very much oppressive regime. And he is sent after her when one of the beasts ends up like escaping through the wood. She goes out after it, and he goes out after her and the beast and has to capture them. And of course it becomes a series from there. This is great for fans of Suyi Davies Otunbawa's Son of the Storm. It is great for anyone who likes books that are set in the forest, who loves a really good socio-political fantasy that is able to balance everything from full character realization to romance to like a will they won't they tension sort of thing, and a really intense magic system and lush world itself. I think that if you haven't given the series a try, that you should. Tender Beast by Lascelles Sambury. I'm not crying, you're crying. It releases in February of 2024. You damn right I'm reading it for Blackathon. You damn right. I cannot wait. Everything about this book is a yes. Lascelles Sambury just picks, the artists for Lascelles covers are just unfucking matched, honestly. So I still don't really know what this is about. I think it's dark academia, but again, it's Lascelles Sambury, auto by author for me, I don't care. But for your sakes, let's find out. Sunny Behre has 4 siblings, but only one is a murderer. Well, that's great. 3 out of 4 were good eggs. With the death of Sunny's mother, matriarch of the wealthy Bear family, Sunny's once picture-perfect life is thrown into turmoil, and she's been groomed to be the family's leader, but is not feeling it. Her mother's only instructions were to take care of Dom. So Dom is her youngest brother, who's always been a near stranger and seemingly a dangerous one. So he is currently on trial for a second-degree murder charge. And then another one of her classmates is viciously murdered. So she finds her brother with blood on his hands, and her mother's simple request to take care of him becomes far more complicated. Now, he is insisting that he's innocent. And so she and him are working together to track down the culprit, and she realizes that her other siblings have dark secrets as well. I'm just gonna say that maybe by take care of Dom, her mom meant, you know, like, get that shovel out, just take care of him, you know, like we've all suffered enough. I don't know, we gotta see. Now, this one I'm excited about, The Last Phi Hunter by Saloni Goldenberg. We love a dragon. We love a dragon in this house. I have no idea what this is about. It's a Thai folklore inspired dark fantasy. I'm sold, I know enough. But for y'all's sakes, Phi Hunter and Perpetual Lone Wolf X is on the scent of a legendary demon whose death will bring him praise and acclaim, but the road is a tough one and he's interrupted by a pregnant runaway who needs his help with safe passage through the ghost-infested forest. So everything's made more complicated by assassins on their tail, and he's determined to reunite her with the father of her child, who is the ruthless crown prince. Oh, and of course it's from Angry Robot Books. I'm just telling you, if you guys aren't following Angry Robot on Instagram, you're making a mistake. If you're not paying attention to the books that they are coming out with, you're making a mistake. Oh, we love a queer book. This is The No Girlfriend Rule by Kristen Randall. Sometimes romance is right in character. Oh my god, we love a cheesy moment. So, oh, it's a queer romance, an RPG adventure, and story of self-acceptance that we all need. I wanted to hug every page. Oh my god, cute. No girlfriend, no problem. Me, my entire life. Hollis Beckwith
I hate that name.
Isn't trying to get a girl, but she's just trying to get by. Same. But besides, she already has a boyfriend, Chris. Hollis wants senior year to bring them closer together, but when she tries to learn his favorite tabletop game, Secrets and Sorcery, his no girlfriends at the table rule means she'll need to find her own group if she wants to get in. And that's when we enter Gloria Castañeda, who has an all-girls game of S&S. And in Gloria's cozy Ohio apartment, 6 girls battle twisted magic in-game and become fast friends outside of it. Then an in-game crush develops between Hollis's character and the bard, played by charismatic Amy Amin Shaw, whose wide, cocky grin makes Hollis's stomach flutter. As their gentle flirting sparks into something deeper, Hollis is not sure what she wants or if she's content to just play pretend. When does this come out? This releases in March, on March 5th, which is the day before one of my loved ones' birthdays. I'm so excited about all of this. Oh my god, cute. This is going to be a really cute read, I can already tell. I was also sent a cute little press package for the release of Happiness Falls by Angie Kim, and it was just sitting in my book room. I don't know how I forgot to open it, but now I'm opening it with you. So this is a little card that they sent. It says, sometimes the answer lies in what's unsaid. Ooh, go off. Is that not the actual case? I'm putting this up on my wall. Is this an 8x10? Because I have an 8x10 frame that I would love to put something in. So if that is it, then I'm gonna use that. And then this is the book. Outside of the book though, we were also sent this little notebook. All I really know about Happiness Falls is that everybody loved it. I enjoyed Angie Kim's debut, which was titled Miracle Creek. Everyone on Bookstagram was very obsessed with it, but I did hear that the autistic representation was not the greatest. And I also had feelings about the autistic depiction, but I never really spoke on it because I didn't talk about the book very much, just in general. We're following a biracial Korean-American family in Virginia whose lives are upended when the father and husband goes missing. Mia, the irreverent, hyper-analytical 20-year-old daughter, has an explanation for everything, which is why she isn't initially concerned when her father and younger brother Eugene don't return from a walk in a nearby park. But by the time Mia's brother runs through the front door bloody and alone, it becomes clear that the father in this tight-knit family is missing, and the only witness is Eugene, who has the rare genetic condition Angelman syndrome and cannot speak. Angelman syndrome was something that I learned about when I was doing my genetic studies, and I already have like initial feelings. Like I don't love when authors, especially specifically of thrillers, use rare conditions as part of their plot devices, especially if it's a trend in their novels. For example, the face blindness that was used by, what was Homegirl's name in that book everybody was obsessed with like 3 years ago, where they leave the country, I think they go to Scotland, and the husband has face blindness, and the wife thinks he's trying to kill her, or they're snowed in or something like that. I just don't appreciate certain conditions being used as plot devices. Mind you, I'm not making any inherent judgments. This is just like a knee-jerk reaction, given that this is the second time I've seen this author bring in a condition as part of her plot for her story. So I'm gonna read the actual book whenever I get to it. I do know that everybody was obsessed with it, and I didn't hear anybody critiquing the depiction, so we'll see. Could not be more excited about Cursed Bunny. And in case you're wondering why the lighting changed, I love this house, but it is really freaking frustrating because the windows are very, very small, and the windows in this house are all facing like opposite the way that sunlight naturally comes in, which does a number on me as somebody who really struggles without the sun, even though I hate the sun. So it's a whole thing. That's why the lighting went from film festival to stereotypical YouTube. So hopefully you like it both ways, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, Cursed Bunny. This is by Bora Chung and has been on my radar for years. I did not realize that this was a translated work though, and this was a book that was being given away for free in my neighborhood. I've never picked up something so fast. Don't know what this book is about, and I still don't care, don't want to know. It's a real odd literary fiction that borders on horror or has elements of horror. That's really all I need to know to put a book on my TBR, especially if it's by an author of color. This is a wildly original debut from a rising star of Korean literature, surreal, chilling fables that take on the patriarchy, capitalism, and the reign of big tech with absurdist humor and sometimes a literal bite. But I had no idea that this was short fiction. Can't wait. Another book that I got for free, this is Things That Are Essays by Amy Leach. We love. It's supposed to be a descendant of Emily Dickinson and Lewis Carroll. And I think that this is going to be perfect when I'm in the mood for my literary feel, classic literary feel books that I fell in love with in high school. It's just something you go into for the vibes. In a series of essays that progress from the tiniest earth dwellers to far-flung celestial bodies, considering everything from the similarity of gods to donkeys, exploding stars to exploding sea cucumbers, she rekindles our communion with the world. And then we have a book that I purchased from this thrift store that I found up north, and it was so cool. They had all these books in the back, and I really wanted to get one to take home. And so this one is Who the Hell is Pansy O'Hara? Fascinating Stories Behind 50 of the World's Best Loved Books. One of the stories talks about F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby and how he stole that work from his wife. And when his wife had something to say about it, whew, books almost slid to the back, and she had something to say about it, he had her committed for schizophrenia. So these are the stories behind the stories that we love today. The story behind Jane Eyre, the story behind The Godfather, from To Kill a Mockingbird, etc. You get the idea. Speaking of killing, we have what will be my first foray into Stacey Lee's work, and this is titled Kill Her Twice. You know that I love depiction of Hollywood showbiz in books, and this is set in 1932 on the silver screen. We're following Lulu Wang, who is a star and the pride of Chinatown. She's got a face known to everyone, especially the three Chow sisters. So the girls instantly know it's Lulu when they discover a body one morning behind the stable. They suspect that her death is due to foul play and that there are signs of a cover-up, and powerful forces in the city want this killing to go unsolved. So we're following them as they try and solve this murder, even while being put in the crosshairs of the killer. The Awakening by Andrea Porter. This is a novella, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that it has to do with space. And it's signed. Set in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's a normal day except for the solar flares until Nikki and 5 of her co-workers become trapped in a horrific scene, or as a horrific scene unfolds outside of their building. The plan was to stay inside until safety is certain, but without cell service, the internet, they don't have any way to communicate. And then the minutes are ticking away and one of their lives becomes endangered, so they have to go outside into the bloodbath. Again, a great read that would apply to Camp Oregon. I'm just ready. I can't believe I'm almost done with this book haul. This is so fun, and I don't want to get out of the bath. So we've got a cute little horror novella that's titled Snarl. This is by John Bowden. The thing about this book that makes me nervous is that it reminds me of Brother by Anya Alborn, just in the way that the cover looks. And Brother disappointed me so fully, so deeply, so entirely, that anything that looks remotely like it is a no for me. This I could not be more excited to share with you. This is potentially the most precious out of all of the books that I have received because it was sent to me by one of you. Thank you so much, Sarah, who's been a patron for such a long time and just a person who never shies away from supporting me in my channel. And she is in the process of creating all of these incredible notebooks. We've been talking about doing a Camp Oregon notebook together, and I'm really excited. So you can get this one on Amazon, this rainbow notebook, and the best part of it is the pages are literally rainbow pages. I mean, like, incredible. So I'm gonna have this linked down below. You have to get a copy. And then we have Hazardous Spirits. I am very excited about this one. Hazardous Spirits is from Anbar Salam. She's a half Palestinian, half Scottish author who grew up in London. This is set in 1920s Edinburgh. I really, really like 1920s settings. I really enjoy 1920s settings, especially if they're in the UK or in Edinburgh, for example. We're following Evelyn Hazard, who is a young middle-class housewife who's living that life that she's always expected, except she finds out that her husband can commune with the dead. Like, I'm just trying to have a normal life, dude. The couple is pulled into the spiritualist movement, a religious society of mediums and psychics that emerged following the mass deaths of Spanish flu and First World War, which is a thing that actually happened. And so I'm excited to see how that history is pulled into this novel. Evelyn's carefully composed world begins to unravel, and then she starts questioning whether or not her boy is telling the truth. I just can't wait for that. I cannot believe how many books are on this haul. Next up, we have The Age of Deer. This is by Erica Hausar, Trouble and Kinship with Our Wild Neighbors. This book is all about the American obsession with deer, as in like putting them on walls, how we interact with these creatures that we've always lived beside, the role of deer in our society, whether it's pop culture, folklore, etc. I'm really interested in this book, especially after going to Japan last year and seeing the Nara, the sacred deer, and just learning more about the history of deer and their importance and relevance in Japan. So I thought that this book would be really exciting, although I fully anticipate this being a book I don't get to for years, and that if I do get to it, it'll be like reading a chapter here and there, because it does seem very academic and very dry in a way that I like, but I have to be in the mood for it. I know, right? I was sent Britney Spears' memoir. I have been intentionally waiting to watch Gavin's video where he read this. I need to watch that video after reading this book so I can know what all of his reactions are. But I'm pretty excited. Oh my god! Okay, so it looks like my loved one read this and annotated it herself. She read it and then I get to read it after her, and it's just gonna be like the sisterhood of the traveling Britney Spears memoir. If I don't love it and don't want to keep it on my shelves, then I will put it on the Pango, and then you guys can have annotations from both them and myself. So then we have The Skin and Its Girl. This is by Sarah Cipher, and I'm very attracted to this cover. It's a young queer Palestinian American woman who pieces together her great aunt's secrets in this sweeping debut, confronting questions of sexual identity, exile, and lineage. I don't need to know any more than that because I am absolutely hooked. Please add this to your TBRs. If not, I think I should do a Palestinian reading vlog. So if you have any recommendations for books from Palestinian authors, I would love to know. I already have a nice little TBR Palestinian book recommendations that I have gotten from Instagram and my own research, but I'm always down to hear more. Let me know which books that you want to see vlogs for, which of these books you want to see content surrounding. I feel so awkward because I'm intentionally keeping my hands up out of the water and I'm gesturing with them a lot. I feel like a magician. Now you see me, now you don't, my father would be like. Then we have The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. This is the author who wrote The Maid, which is a neurodiverse coded maid who is cleaning out rooms, and then she finds this dead man in it, and she goes out to solve the murder. And so this is book 2 in that series. I really like these covers. I think that they are very cleverly done, and I haven't heard a whole lot about The Mystery Guest, but I did hear a lot about The Maid and everybody was very much enjoying it. Next up, we have Something Close to Magic by Emma Mills. I really like this cover. It is giving cozy YA, but let's see what it is about, shall we? It's not all sugar and spice at Basils Bakery. Oh my god, I love bakery books, foodie books, I just love them. Orly is an overworked, underappreciated apprentice. At least the job offers stability, so she works hard and doesn't dream big. And then there's a stranger who turns out to be a remarkably bothersome bounty hunter named Ilyana, asks for Orly's help rescuing someone in the dangerous Underwood. And that someone happens to become Prince Hapless, the charming but aptly named Prince, forced to choose between her nice life at the bakery and this exciting life that she has come across. And oh my gosh, we love it. I think this is going to be a really good cozy read. It would be perfect for Camp Oregon as well. Now we've got 2 more books with stunning complimentary covers. The first one that I'm going to talk about is Break the Cycle by Dr. Marielle Bouquet. This is a guide to healing intergenerational trauma, which is a topic that has been very much on my mind as of late. Very much. Something I thought a lot about last year in particular, especially the later half of the year. And I know that The Body Keeps Score is a really popular novel, but I've been excited to read more books about intergenerational trauma and healing that were written by people of color. So I have this one, I have What My Bones Know. So stunning, right? So the author is not only a holistic practitioner, but also is a trauma therapist. And I love that we are getting a really well-rounded approach to intergenerational healing. Like, I'm just so excited to read this book, and I'm sure it's gonna make me cry. But it is new, and I do really want y'all to support this book if you are able to. So put it on your TBRs, spread it around, do what you gotta do. We have Goldenseal, and this is by Maria Hummel, who wrote Motherland. Motherland is a book that I personally am not familiar with. But this is set in downtown LA in 1990. I just mean all of these books are giving. Every single one of these books are giving. Alone in her luxury hotel suite, the reclusive Lacey Crane receives a message that Edith is waiting for her in the lobby, and they were former best friends. They haven't spoken to each other in 4 decades, which is another trope that I very much enjoy. As young adults meeting at summer camp in Maine and later making their way to the glitzy spotlight of post-war Hollywood, they shared a deep-rooted bond, providing comfort from the public and private traumas each had endured, and which a newly optimistic world was eager to forget. And it's about the lies, the intimate female friendship, the haunting story, the lingering echoes of love, all of that. I'm very excited. Friendship breakups always hit me very hard. I have one final stack, but before I get to it, I want to unbox something with y'all. Damn it, I got my hand wet. No, my paw's wet. Shake it off, shake it off. Fuck, okay, and my towel's over there. All right, we're gonna do this. All right, we're just gonna drape you here. Oh my god, and I forgot I have 2 books down there. So we're gonna unbox this, then we'll grab those other 2 books, and then we'll do our last stack. You guys hanging in there? You with me, kids? Okay, it would probably help if this was the correct side up. When you pray to the goddess, do not ask her for mercy. Stunning, I already know what's in here. You already know what it is. I mean, come on. The way I wanna just like cut this out and use it as a bookmark, but I'm not gonna do that because I like to reuse my boxes to send out my Pango orders. Why does black and green slap every time? Because there's nothing more beautiful or more heartbreaking than knowing the unconditional love of a mother. And this is the book. We're gonna set it aside so we can open the candle first. It looks like a candle. It smells so good. Oh, I wish it said what kind of candle this was. It's this beautiful green, and I like how it sits on here, and you could like decorate this. So once this candle is done, I could use this for plants. I can decorate it. Not sure if it was last year or the year before, but I interviewed CM Lockhart last year. First book was titled We Are the Origin, and this, the second book in the series, is We Are Dying Gods. She is not the goddess you pray to. Obsessed. The first book blew me out of the water. It was peak Black Girl Magic, and you know you're gonna see me read this one in a Black Girl Magic as well. This has one of my favorite feels of covers, that really soft, not too shiny, like tactile, physical ASMR ass cover. I just simply adore it. A fantasy epic for all the Black girl goddesses. From the ruins of Freya's temple, a new era of gods have risen, carrying the power of those who came before them. They're tasked with doing what their predecessors could not, protecting the realm from the time beings who want to see it destroyed. It's an impossible task that leaves them with no room for failure. It involves gods, Black girls coming into their magic, celebrations of non-normative bodies. It is beautiful. Amazing depiction of Black men and boys being shown as well-rounded, emotional characters, and it's just beautiful. I love the depiction of creatures in this book, the vibes, the writing, the setting, all of it. And Freya is a character in this book as well, so. You likely have already seen me with A River of Golden Bones by A.K. Mulford, because this is the pick for my NB book club in January, and this is one of those cozy kingdom fantasies, queer fairy tale-esque. We are following twins who are the heir to this court, except one of them is merely the backup for the other twin. So she has to stay hidden, and the humans don't know that these girls are also wolves and come from a wolf society. So if shapeshifter magic is your thing, evil sorceress kind of thing is your thing, this is what you should read. We have Forged by Blood, which was also on my TBR for the month, and this is a debut, a West African author, one of those brutal, bloody kingdom fantasies. A girl coming into her power, a girl overthrowing an oppressive regime, lots of magic, lots of going on a journey, and unpacking what systems of violence actually mean and do to their peoples. Had to get out to change the battery in the camera because I've been filming for so long that the camera died. And also had to pick up these 2 books. They, of course, are very, very heavy babies. You just like hold this one on my head. And this one, of course, is upside down. Oh my god, all my life I had to fight. Both of these books were unboxed in my Winterween vlog. If you haven't seen that, go get to it. This is Shubeik Lubeik, and this is by Dina Muhammad. I still have to double check the pronunciation of the name. This brilliantly original debut novel imagines a world, a fantastical world in Cairo, where wishes come true. Wishes are used as currency. You can purchase wishes. And it still has the same bureaucracy and prejudices of our world, but this is what it would look like. There were wish magic involved. And we're following different characters who are living in Cairo, who are using or not using wishes to impact their lives. I set that down. Oh my hands are killing me. A privileged college student who secretly struggles with depression and has to decide whether or not to use their wish to fix their depression. And we also love that we have non-normative genders. We have Shokri, who must grapple with his religious convictions as he decides how to help a friend who doesn't want to use her wish. We are also following a woman named Aziza, who learned early on that life can be hard, and when she loses her husband but manages to procure a wish, she finds herself fighting unreasonable regulations and inequality for the right to have and use that wish. It sounds incredible. There's going to be a lot of substance. Oh, not an impaled person. Okay, well, I'm not going to show you guys that. It combines these really beautiful spreads of color with these nice black and white shade work. Very exciting. In that same box, I was sent Esther's notebooks. This is by Riyad Sattouf. Premise of the book is really, really sweet. Essentially, we are following Esther, who is this young child just growing up. And one day a friend of her father's comes and sits down and just starts having conversations with her and letting her talk, letting her have agency, just listening to her. And he then took those conversations and drew out comic strips and then wrote them as Esther's notebooks. And I think that that's just such a beautiful thing, a nice slice of life of a Parisian child from a cartoonist and filmmaker who grew up in Libya and Syria and now lives in Paris. I just think it sounds really, really beautiful, and I'm so excited to read it. And it is very, very wordy, like a book. It's intense, but I'm really excited for it. You likely have already seen me with Jasad Air because this is my Patreon book club pick for December and January, and I'm really excited because what we're doing over there is we're going to get on live and quiz each other about things in the book. It's going to be like kind of Jeopardy style. I'm calling it a book battle, so I can't wait for that. But we are following a girl named Sylvia, who is the lost daughter of the Jasad Empire. And the Jasad Empire was razed, burned to the ground, and its magic outlawed, but she was the sole survivor. And she's just trying to keep her head down, but one day the prince to the other empire, I think it's the Nizal Empire, he rides into her village where she's hiding and finds her and forces her to fight for him in this championship that happens, and she will win her freedom if she serves as his champion. There's more to the story than that, and of course a romance blooms between the two of them. I don't know if it's enemies to lovers or if it's enemies to lovers to enemies again or whatever, but it is exciting and the magic is so good. The writing's amazing. It is long enough for the world to really, really unwrap. The characters are incredible. It's brutal. I think it rides that line between YA and adult so well, and that you guys should read it. Read it and join the book battle with me at the end of this month. Now we have two books that are geared towards children. This one is Camp Prodigy. I've spoken about this already because this and that were on my January TBRs. But Camp Prodigy follows a non-binary kid who goes to this musical camp and really, really wants to be a very talented musician, but has severe performance anxiety. And the kid meets their idol, and it's about the relationship that forms between the two of them and this kid finding their voice. I know that one of the characters is non-binary and uses they, them pronouns, but I can't remember which, so I'm just using they for both. And the artwork is just so cute. It's a nice black and white graphic novel, so if you're someone who kind of appreciates not having color on the page, then you should try this one. Pictured in my Winterween vlog is the October Witches, and this follows a family of witches who only get their powers once a year in October. One half of the family gets together with the other half of the family in order for their magic to like come and be bestowed upon them, but they are from warring clans. This book gets so brutal and violent and disturbing, and it's a middle grade book, so if you want a very tender story about an all-female family and their issues, the things that they grapple with, as well as some nice magic but also some really disturbing things, I think that you would like this one. And finally, these last three books were all sent together in one package, so it makes sense that I would talk about them all at once. The first book is Pansy, and this is by Andrea Gibson, who is a local poet that I followed as I was coming of age myself, who now is like big in the poetry scene, and I love that for them. They came out as non-binary later on in their career, and I haven't read any of their works since they've become so famous. I just, you know how sometimes you just lose kind of touch with an author, not because you don't love them, but because you find new authors and you kind of forget about the other authors that you've loved in the past. And so I really appreciate getting able to reconnect with that work. So I'm really excited to see how Andrea's work may differ from the work that they've done in the past. I can't wait. They also sent a book called Sea Monsters. Now this is an incredible cover and it is tactile. It feels a lot like scales, and I very much appreciate that. I've never seen a cover like this. Now this is by Chloe Arigis. Why is the book sticky? Ew. Oh, there must have been a sticker that they ripped off because it's sticky down here. So this is from Catapult. Autumn afternoon, 17-year-old Luisa does not return home from school. Instead, she boards a bus to the Pacific coast with Tomas, a boy she barely knows. He seems to represent everything her life is lacking: recklessness, impulse, independence. And Tomas may also help Luisa fulfill an unusual obsession. She wants to track down a traveling trope of Ukrainian dwarfs. According to newspaper reports, the dwarfs recently escaped a Soviet circus touring Mexico. The imagined fates of those performers fill Luisa's surreal dreams as she settles in a beach community in Oaxaca. Surrounded by hippies, nudists, beachcombers, and eccentric storytellers, Luisa searches for anyone who will promise, no matter what, to remain a mystery. It's a quest more easily envisioned than accomplished, and etc., etc. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. Again, this might just be the way that it's being worded by whoever wrote the dust jacket, but it sounds like, oh, I want to find these little people just for the sake of like for novelty. Like, I don't like that. That sounds weird to me, but again, I don't want to pass judgments before actually going in. So I still want to do a vlog that I talked about last year where I read problematic books in secret, like without telling you guys what the books are. I'm just reading the book and telling you my reactions, but you have no idea what the book actually is that I'm reading. So who knows, this might be one of them. And they sent me a copy of The Death of Vivek Oji by Kweke Emezi. I have, I think, like 3 copies of this book because they are my favorite author. And so I might be annotating this and putting it up on Pango. We shall see. But they sent a bookmark as well. Nice bookmark was also sent from Vignette Books. And this actually reminds me that I think there's some cool character work that I forgot to show you in Weird Dying Gods. Also, what an incredible cover is that. Oh my god, it smells so much like that candle. Personalized note in here that says, please enjoy the book, Jessie, create your path. We're supposed to be doing some writing sprints together. We were supposed to do them last year, but we never ended up making it happen. This sticker is so cute. It's gonna go so nicely with the artwork that's up on my wall from book 1. We also have a nice map. You know we love a map of the realm. Yes, it's giving give me the keys to the kingdom. We have this beautiful arrow. Oh my god, yes. This is a character that I very, very much love. Loving this. We Are the Origin is the first book, and then this is the new cover. We have another character card, which I think that this is absolutely incredible. Like, the artwork is stunning. The way that art is used to bring these characters and these gods to life, it's just absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna leave a playlist linked down below of the other book hauls that I have done. I want to know what you think of all of these books. I want to know which of these books you want to see me read for a vlog, all of that. And also I want to show off my merch that came in. The slogan says, let me read in peace or you will rest in pieces. This is something that I came up with at the end of last year and I really liked it. So I have a bunch of sweaters like this up on Bonfire in different colors. The link is down below, but I just really, really love this merch. All right, kids, this was really, really fun and I very, very much appreciate you watching to the end of this video. If you made it this far into the video, why don't you leave a stack of books emoji just to show me that you were here, unlike my father. Join my Patreon. Bye.